Presented by the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome to New York City. That is Central Park. We're about 8 miles northeast of Central Park, and here we are in the Bronx. It is Yankee Stadium, fourth and final game of this 4-game series, and the final time the Blue Jays will play the Yankees here in New York. They are 8-1 this series. That is the most losses the Yankees have suffered against one team since 1976, when they lost to the Orioles 8 times. So the Blue Jays have a chance to set an all-time record for Yankee losses in a single series against one team. Take a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays. They have hit .323 in the first 3 games. Ben Revere's had a lot to do with that. He's 11 for 24 on this road trip, and he scored 7 runs. He hit his first home run as a Blue Jay here in Game 1 yesterday. Clovabello has done well. Chris has done a great job against the Yankees this season. He is 10 for 21, a pair of doubles and 2 RBIs. I mentioned this team. They hit .323 in the first 3 games. They have scored 30 runs in the first 3 games of this series.
A little bit different look for the Blue Jays, but still a tough lineup. Masahiro Tanaka will make his 22nd start of the season today. He's pitching on regular 4 days rest. He's coming off a very good outing against Baltimore, where he allowed just 1 earned run over 8 innings. For his career versus the Blue Jays, he's 4-2 with a .265 earned run average. That's 6 career starts versus the Blue Jays. And check this out, he's allowed only 6 hits or fewer in all 6 of those starts. He's been very tough on the Blue Jays. Last start back at Rogers Center, he threw the Yankees season-high 9-inning complete game. The only time a Yankee has thrown 9 innings this season.
Had 3 walks and 8 strikeouts in that game. And the Blue Jays just a single run on 5 hits. He made his first big league start against the Blue Jays last year at Rogers Center. So they know all about him. And it's one thing to know about him, it's another thing to hit him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
He is tough. Well, if anybody can hit him, it'll be this man, Ben Revere. He's hit everybody on this road trip so far. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is in there for a strike, and we are underway. 24 degrees on a spectacular Sunday afternoon. Outside of a 33-minute rain delay in Game 2 last night, it's been pretty good. Tanaka's ahead 0-2. I think, Pat, the one thing we should watch for today is how few balls Tanaka leaves over the heart of the plate.
That's why he was so good in that last start against the Blue Jays back at Rogers Center. He threw the Yankees season-high 9-inning complete game. He had that splitter working. Everything was down. His fastball, he was talking about it after that game. Probably his best stuff of the season. He's just throwing everything where he wanted to.
Revere hits it on one hop to the second baseman, Stephen Drew. 1 down. Let's take a look at the rest of the Yankees defense in the outfield. They've got a lot of speed in left and center. Brett Gardner's in left field. Jacoby Ellsbury's in center. The veteran Carlos Beltran is in right. Case Headley's had a tough year defensively. He's committed 20 errors. Gregorius and Drew up the middle. That's the double play combination. Dustin Ackley making his second start at first base. Ryan McCann back behind the plate for Tanaka.
8 different players have played first base for the Yankees this year. This is Dustin Ackley over at first base, second start, like you said. No Greg Bird today with the knuckleballer on the mound. Joe Girardi did not want to subject his rookie to the knuckleballer.
Josh Donaldson goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball to right field. Well, that'll bring Jose Bautista to the plate. He's had another good series here in New York.
Great players, I think, rise to the occasion when they are on the big stage, and there's none bigger than New York in this series for the Blue Jays. And right at the forefront, Jose Bautista. He went deep to right field yesterday for the first home run to right field, and then hits that bomb just straight away center field. You can see the excitement on Bautista's face. That was off of Dylan Betances, and it was a fastball about 98 miles an hour.
He gave the Blue Jays a 5-4 lead for at least a half an inning. Yankees tied it up in the bottom of the 8th. Bautista for the series is 6 for 13 for 62. He's hit those 2 home runs, and he's driven in 5. Tanaka never gives you 2 pitches in the same area at the same speed.
At the same speed or the same type of pitch. He's got lots to work with. The Yankees are really leaning on this guy today. They need a W.
He's that good splitter right down at the bottom of the zone. The Yankees have lost 5 straight. That's one off their season high 6 straight games they lost earlier in May. 1-2. Fly ball to the alley. Ellsbury on the run. He's not going to get it. Up against the wall. Bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. Bautista with his 7th hit of the series.
You see Jose with his 27th double. He hit a ball similar to this a couple of nights ago. This ball is a rocket and knocks his helmet off on his backswing. So he's going to have to cruise into second base without that helmet. Watch that follow through. Making a decision. Should I grab the helmet or should I run to first base?
He probably wondered what the heck just hit me in the head. You don't see that very often. But he'll take the double. He's in scoring position for Chris Colabello. Colabello in the cleanup spot. Edwin Encarnacion left the game yesterday in game 2 after an awkward swing, and he re-aggravated those fingers on his left hand. He keeps them taped up. You can see that middle finger is taped up, and that's the knuckle that gives him problems. And when he's playing, he tapes his ring finger and his middle finger together. So he's going to get today off. Tomorrow's an off day, and still subject to the possibility of not playing in Atlanta.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting, I think, what happens to Edwin when they head down to Atlanta. Of course, no designated hitter in a National League ballpark. So he will probably not start any of those games.
That would probably be the best thing for that finger, just to give him a week off. I mean, that'd be a great opportunity, and certainly he wants to be in the lineup and wants to play. Blue Jays need his bat, but you'd rather have him at 100% than 80% for 3 games against Atlanta. Colabello behind 0-1. Once again, look at the strike zone. Chris Guccione is the home plate umpire, and Tanaka has been given the benefit of that wide strike zone.
Yeah, not just the strike zone, but where those pitches are, too. When he threw that complete game at Rogers Center, I can't remember too many balls in the heart of the plate.
Tanaka is making his 42nd career start in the big leagues. Bautista, he was bouncing off second as if he were going to take third, and Tanaka gave him one last look and brought him to a screeching halt.
Yeah, but he was still way out there, so anything into the outfield, he was going to score easily. Infielders have to play deep to try to knock down any baseball on the ground. So they will give Bautista as many steps as he needs at second.
Another pitch out of the strike zone, and he strikes at Colabello. Bautista with a 2-out double. Blue Jays leave a run. Stretch of games. They've lost 5 straight games, all here at Yankee Stadium, to the Orioles and the Blue Jays. Take a look at the lineup for the Yankees. Jacoby Ellsbury right at the top of the order. He's got good numbers against the Blue Jays. Starting R.A. Dickey, he's 7 for 24 with 3 extra base hits, and right behind him, talk about a Blue Jays nemesis, Brett Gardner. This series, 6 hits, but 3 of them have been home runs, including a pair of 3-run homers in Game 2 last night.
Been red hot. R.A. Dickey takes the mound for his 30th start of the season. That makes 5 straight seasons with 30 or more starts. He's also looking for his 100th career win today, and if he gets it, he'll become the 7th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to reach the 100 career wins milestone on or after his 40th birthday.
Ellsbury goes after the first pitch and lifts it in the air. Ben Revere, the left fielder, coming in, looking right up into that sun. Has no problems. 1 pitch, 1 out for Dickey. This is a big ballpark, and certainly a lot of fly balls will be caught in the outfield. There's a lot of room out there, and you got 3 speedsters who can go get them: Revere, Pilar, and Bautista, from left to right, respectively. Josh Donaldson's at third. Ryan Goins, he's going to play a lot of shortstop now with Tulowitzki on the shelf. Cliff Pennington, what a game he had yesterday defensively. Smokes at first, and Josh Tolley, the knuckleball specialist behind the plate for Dickey.
And what a game for Cliff Pennington in yesterday's game. I think he was solely responsible for that Blue Jays win with his glove. What he did to save a couple of runs with those outstanding plays. He also hit a home run in the second game, and he's going to get a lot more playing time now that Tulowitzki is on the shelf.
Brett Gardner, 6 for 12 in his series, as we mentioned. Gardner hitting just .217 in 23 at-bats against R.A. Dickey. 16 home runs.
And 65 driven in from the number 2 hole.
Yeah, we've got 2 of the most productive 2-hitters in all of baseball in this game this afternoon, with Donaldson for the Blue Jays and Gardner for the Yankees. Baseball has changed some of its thinking now. You don't see as many traditional leadoff hitters, and a lot of the 2-hitters are providing power. Troy Tulowitzki, disappointed he didn't have that eye black on, and that means he's not playing. So he is on the shelf, and they say 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But it's interesting. It's an unusual injury for a baseball player, and we've got more on that in a minute. This has popped up weekly. Pennington slipped again. This turf has been very soft, and he slipped and lost his footing, but he's able to recover.
Here's the injury from yesterday, in case you missed it. Kevin Pillar's chin actually digs right into the back of Troy Tulowitzki, right in the scapula area. You can see the jarring motion that he had. He took the ball, put it in his hand, and then walked off. After he fell down, walked off after that. And it's really interesting what the Blue Jays are going to try and do now with Tulowitzki to talk about this injury.
George Poulos, the trainer, has already reached out to some NFL teams, because as Poulos characterized it, he said it's a football injury. Oh, what a play. Kevin Pillar takes extra bases away from Carlos Beltran, and everybody on the diamond loved it. Look at Ben Revere waiting for him to give him some support. R.A. Dickey needs just 8 pitches, and the Blue Jays defense helps him out in the first. This was 2, maybe 3 for Beltran, but Pilar stays with it. Little extension and another highlight reel catch for the center fielder. injury. In fact, we talked with George Poulos, we talked with John Gibbons, we talked with Alex Anthopoulos, and it's an unusual injury, the type of injury you see among football players. So George has contacted some NFL teams about how you treat this such injury.
And it's just rest right now. They're going to give it about 3 or 4 days just to calm down just a little bit. Alex was saying there's a lot of blood in the area. They want that to go down. He'll get some treatment. But it looked like a football play, didn't it? It looked like Tulowitzki, where you see a wide receiver reach up for a ball, and then the defensive back hit him in the upper back like that. And it's the same type of injury.
Well, what they're going to do is they'll let it calm down, obviously, and it's a matter of those bruised muscles. Smoke drops it down the third baseline. Good idea for Smoke. They're playing him in that shift, and now it's coming back toward the base. Chase Headley saw that ball curving from the outer edge of that grass base path. He said, wait a minute, that's coming back toward third.
Nobody would pick it up. But I have a sneaky suspicion. I had a feeling that Tulowitzki, we're going to see him in a couple of weeks, because we asked about that injury, and we asked once the bone heals or starts to, the small crack starts to feel better, can he play through the pain? And then it becomes a tolerance issue.
Well, and the big thing about Tulowitzki is that he's going to want to get back in. And the guy on his left, that's Darwin Barney, who just came to the ball club today. He was acquired almost immediately after the Tulowitzki injury. They went to the Dodgers and said, hey, we need some help. And the Dodgers were able to move Barney to the Blue Jays. Darwin Barney is a former Gold Glover. Played second base with the Cubs, won a Gold Glove in 2012, and he spent most of the season in AAA, Albuquerque.
Yeah, he was actually home. Went home for a day and said, well, what'd you do at home? He said, I had to go find some bats. I had nothing to bring to New York. He actually found a couple of bats at his home.
Yeah, we got a chance to meet him in the manager's office this morning and spoke to him about it. And he's thrilled to be here. He broke with the Dodgers in spring training, only got into 2 games, and he spent the entire season at AAA.
He had to get shoes, he had to get some T-shirts, something like that, all of that stuff. And then on to New York for this series.
This is Kevin Pillar. Made a terrific catch to take a hit away from Carlos Beltran. Of course, Pillar felt terrible about the Tulowitzki injury. He said it's the worst feeling I've ever had on the baseball field. Recognizing that my collision with him injured another teammate, but Tulowitzki addressed it, as did Pillar, and said, hey, we were just both going after the baseball.
2 aggressive players just trying to make an aggressive play in the field. And unfortunately, I mean, how many times have you seen guys collide like that and nothing really happened?
Pillar hits it deep to center. Ellsbury's on the run. He's not going to get this one. Almost the carbon copy of the Bautista double in the first. Pillar picks up the double, his 23rd double of the season. It comes with 1 out here in the second.
You make a great play to end the first inning. You get the bat, and then you hit a double. He's off to a nice start this Sunday afternoon. This ball is hammered to left field. It bounces out of play for the second ground rule double.
One thing I've noticed already in this game is the ball is really carrying. Ellsbury, he's a great center fielder, and he couldn't run down either one of those balls, and the ball just continued to carry toward the fence in center. Same thing happened on Bautista's ball in the first. Ryan Goins, he's 0 for 9 going up against Tanaka in his career. Going 3 for 14 in this Yankees series. He has an RBI. But he is going to be the shortstop with Tulowitzki out, and that's his background. He came up as a shortstop. He plays very well defensively. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to miss a beat in the field with Goins' presence at short.
And you and I were talking about yesterday, I thought was all about, quote, team, how everybody kind of hung together and came together to win 2 very tough games.
And it was the defense. They were great. Donaldson made a couple good plays at third. They picked up Estrada, who had a little bit of a shaky start. But everybody made a contribution. The bullpen really stepped it up. And nobody was really dominant, but they were there. After one guy failed, the next guy picked it up.
A couple of injuries. They lost a couple of guys yesterday. Tulowitzki and Edwin actually had to leave yesterday's ball game. People like Goins and Pennington, Pilar, those are the kind of guys that can pick a team up.
Goins gets a piece of it. 1-2 now. And once again, look at that pitch tracker. Nothing in the heart of the plate. Tanaka's the master at that. And he's got such good command. He'll throw one on the corner and then take it just a little bit further outside.
He's got an umpire, I think, this afternoon who's going to have a big strike zone. And he will read that home plate umpire. If he's calling that ball just off the plate, he's going to keep throwing it there.
Tanaka with a snap throw to second. Pilar just in under the tag of E.D. Gregorius.
Just trying to keep him close. The Yankees are going to take a look at this one. From here, it looked like he missed the tag. Sneaks in behind him. He throws it down there, but Pilar's hand gets back in.
Dale Scott is the umpire that made the call, and they're going to go under the hood and look at this play on review. Oh, he got him.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he got him. So if they have that angle, Pilar's going to be called out.
You could see where the glove ended in the dirt. That's why it looked like he might have missed him, but he just clipped him with the end of his glove right before that hand got back in there. And the crowd is now seeing it on the Jumbotron here, and I think they know that this call is going to be reversed.
They're challenging the safe call at second. Dale Scott, the umpire that made the call, is the crew chief, Chris Guccione. Home plate umpire, second in seniority, so he has joined Scott near the third base coach's box. I don't think this is going to take a long time.
No, it shouldn't. This one right here shows it, I think, plain. Right there, he's got him, and you can see he's an inch or two off the bag.
And Pilar's hand would be moved by it, and there's the sign. Dale Scott indicating that Pilar indeed is out. So the Yankees win that challenge, and the Blue Jays lose a base runner from scoring position. Tanaka and Gregorius teamed up perfectly. So Goins now will bat with 2 outs. He's got a 1-2 count on him. Turnaround inning. Tanaka gives up a 1-out double, but then picks off Pilar and strikes out. Goins will go to the bottom of the second. They'll score in New York. to the field with him, and his defense has been outstanding all season long.
And the pitching staff really appreciates effort like this. Just another great play by Pilar. We have seen it all season long, and quite frankly, I'm surprised when he doesn't make plays like this. I don't want to say I'm surprised he catches it. I'm surprised when he doesn't make plays because we've seen it all season.
Yeah, and of course we saw early on when he was playing in left field, maybe the best catch of the season when he went high over the wall at Rogers Center. And then there was the great effort against the scoreboard in left center behind Mark Burley. He had it in his glove, came down, hit the warning track, and the warning track jarred the ball out of his glove. That may have been the best catch of the year had he held on to it.
That would have been right up there, I think. He made a catch in Cleveland. I think that one he just made right there was top
Pretty
five.
Good. Yeah.
Top five this season.
Going away from the infield. This is Brian McCann. He pulls it foul, and Dickey's ahead. 1-2. McCann was the DH in the nightcap of the doubleheader. He finished up 1 for 4 in that game. He had 3 hits in the opener of the doubleheader. Boy, Dickey's had a great knuckleball lately. He hasn't lost since the end of July. Actually, the start of July, July 9th, the last time he lost a ball game.
That was at Chicago. He has pitched well in other games. He's had 4 no decisions in games that he could have easily won also. Last time out, 6 innings, 1 earned run, no decision.
Gully wanted that one, and McCann will take ball 4. It's been a different story in the second half of the season for R.A. Dickey. You see his numbers through the first 13 games. ERA over 5, and what a turnaround.
All the numbers so much better after his first 13 starts and then his last 16 starts. And if you know R.A. Dickey, he's going to keep tinkering, keep working, keep trying to find that great release point and something that works where that knuckleball stays in the strike zone, and he has been doing that. He's been getting a great movement as that ball just away from Alex Rodriguez. But he gets that knuckleball, and when it's in the strike zone with the movement, he's had a lot of success with it.
Rodriguez had to bail out of that inside knuckleball, and then he said, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me. He wants to hit against R.A. Dickey. He hasn't had a lot of success against Dickey. He has a home run. Way outside. Rodriguez was acknowledged prior to the game for his 3,000th hit. It happened in June. He's got 3,057 hits, but the Yankees presented him with a couple of nice gifts and a spectacular ring. It had 3,000 across the face of the ring. All in diamonds, of course. It was gorgeous.
Gorgeous ring. Nice little ceremony. They've had some milestones here in the past, haven't they?
Yeah, going on forever. He becomes just the second Yankee to collect his 3,000th hit in a Yankee uniform. Of course, the other, Derek Jeter. It's interesting, too, that Jeter collected all of his hits in a Yankee uniform. Rodriguez is playing with his 3rd team. He began with the Seattle Mariners and played his first 7 seasons in Seattle. Had 966 hits with the Mariners. There he has another base hit with the Yankees. Pilar will play it in quickly. McCann stops at second. Alex Rodriguez is in his 21st season, and you see where he ranks on the all-time hits leaderboard, behind Craig Biggio, the Hall of Famer.
Outside chance to get the Cap Anson and then into the top 20 all-time in hits. He's doing it, one of those unique hitters where he's got the great average in all the hits, but he's also had the power numbers.
Chase Headley takes a strike from Dickey. Inside. The one thing that Dickey has done so effectively during this great stretch of wins is he's thrown a lot of strikes. He's pitched ahead an awful lot, whether it's with his knuckleball or with that fastball. They asked for the appeal down to third. Brian Knight said no swing.
He'll be throwing a few more fastballs. We've seen that also over his last 7 starts or so. More fastballs to get into the count and then use that knuckleball to finish him off.
3-1. Dickey has done such a good job of cutting down the walks, and that was a big problem for him early in the season. He had 2 5-walk games first half of the season. He's not had a 3-walk game since June 29th against the Red Sox. That's quite an accomplishment considering the fact that he throws knuckleballs. 3-1 to Headley. Second walk of the inning. That'll load the bases and nobody out. The Blue Jays, we mentioned they have scored 30 runs in the 3 games. Well, the Yankees, they've scored 17. They've scored a lot of runs as well. So now Dickey's going to have to do a little magic here to keep the Yankees off the board. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Well, it starts with Dustin Ackley, and Ackley's had success in his career against R.A. Dickey.
4 for 11 with a home run. That's why he drew the nod today, plus the fact that Joe Girardi didn't want the rookie facing a knuckleballer for the first time here this afternoon. There's a fly ball to center field. That's going to score 1. McCann is tagging, and the throw will go back into the infield, and just kind of missed everything. But Rodriguez goes to third. McCann comes in to score, and Ackley picks up the RBI with the sac fly.
Dustin Ackley has that approach at the plate, that short swing, and he can wait a long time, and he can shoot the ball the other way. I think matches up nicely against R.A. Dickey. That's why you see the pretty good numbers against him. He'll plate the first run with a long fly ball to center field. A-Rod does the right thing and tags up and gets to third base, so he's over there with less than 2 outs.
Didi Gregorius. Gregorius has been a hot hitter. 329 in his last 48 games. He pops this one up into shallow center. Rodriguez is tagging at third. Millar's setting up. Here's the catch and the throw. It's on line, but not in time. Rodriguez with a head-first slide across home plate. Millar made a strong throw. The Blue Jays are contending that he left early at third. Everybody in the dugout pointing to third.
Yeah, everybody was pointing that, and maybe thought that was going to be a pretty good chance for the Blue Jays to get that runner at third base. It wasn't a very far, deep fly ball. I'm surprised that A-Rod scored on that, actually. So the Blue Jays are going to want to appeal this one. Let's take a look. Short fly ball to center field, and watch Rodriguez in the left side of your screen. Throw is on line, but he's safe. They're going to appeal.
Dickey comes set, then he'll step off the rubber and go to third. They're asking if he left too soon, and the third base umpire says no. Well, of course, everybody with the video now, John Gibbons is going to challenge this call. They appeal it first, and now they have the right to review it, whether or not he left early. And Gibbons gets the wave off from the video room. So all the Blue Jays in the dugout felt like he left early, but the video room suggested that wasn't the case.
I thought he had an excellent chance of getting him. I was a little surprised that he scored. Well, we can look at it this way. This is the split screen of it.
Boy, Rodriguez did a great job. It's almost like a track sprinter, how he anticipated the ball hitting that glove, and he loaded up, and he did not leave too early. But I can see why the Blue Jays would think he did. It looked like he was moving before that ball was caught. Stephen Drew, 1-1 count. Now it's 2-1. Yankees have taken a 2-0 lead here in the second. A single sandwiched by 2 walks. McCann walked to start the inning. Rodriguez singled to center. Then Headley walked. Headley now in second. Sac fly for Ackley. RBI number 20. Sac fly for Gregorius. RBI number 52.
Leadoff walk. He was ahead of McCann also and then lost him. Leadoff walk, and he and A-Rod, not the fastest guys in the world, but they made their way around the bases 1 base at a time.
A fly ball into shallow right. Bautista coming in. He is there. The inning is over. But the Yankees take advantage of a couple of Dickey walks. They score a pair of runs, and they've taken a 2-0 lead as we head to the third.
Presented by the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. The Yankees have a 2-0 lead. It'll be Cliff Pennington, Josh Tolley, and then Ben Revere. 8-9-1 in the Blue Jays batting order. Cliff Pennington had a 2-run home run in his first at bat in Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday. Look at the difference in velocity. It's going to be 75, 76 all the way up to 93, 94 on a variety of pitches.
Strike throwing machine. I think the Yankees have done a really good job with Tanaka this year, really limiting his starts.
Well, he's got a torn ligament in his elbow, and that leads up Tommy John. But Larry Rothschild is the veteran pitching coach, and he and Joe Girardi have done a great job of monitoring the workload for Tanaka.
Stretching out in between his starts. This is his 4th start on 4 days rest, and he's 1-1. He's also made 14 starts this season on 5 days rest, and he's got a 7-4 record when he pitches on 5 days rest. They've also stretched in between starts. He's had 4 starts on 6+ days rest this season, and he's 3-1. And when you've got the bad elbow like that, it's good to kind of stretch it out. That's why he's only made 22 starts this year.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Cliff Pennington. Inside. Tanaka spent 7 seasons in the Japanese Professional League. made 172 starts over there. So he is a veteran. Certainly discount the fact this is his second year in the majors. He is a veteran. He knows how to pitch.
Don't they pitch on once a week, once every 7 days over there?
Yeah, that's a big difference. Daisuke Matsuzaka had the challenge of making that adjustment too when he first came to Boston. But Tanaka seems to have settled in very nicely, especially over his last 7 starts here at Yankee Stadium.
How about the base on balls? Just 6 of them in those 7 starts here at Yankee Stadium, under 3.
Tanaka had a perfect season for his team in Japan in 2013. He went 24-0 in 27 starts. That's a pretty good season. 3-2 pitch. Bennington fouls it back. They have an award there that is their version of the Cy Young Award. It's called the Sawamura Award. Of course, he won that last season. 24-0 with a 127 earned run average. And you know what? The Yankees said, let's take a shot on this guy.
Yeah, well, let's see if that can translate here to the American game. I think it can. He has had 41 career starts and he's won 24 of them.
Bennington pulls it to first base. Ackley flips to Tanaka. 1 down. Well, we talk about Tanaka pitching in Japan, and he hasn't fared too poorly here. You look at his major league totals for 2 seasons, and they're impressive.
ERA of 3.17, the whip of 104. This is in 41 career starts, and he's averaging about a strikeout per inning. He's also one of 6 major league pitchers since 1914 to record at least 24 wins within his first 40 career starts. So they knew he was a winner in Japan, and they were wondering if it would translate here. Well, he's a winner here too.
He has now thrown a career high in the majors, 138 in the 3rd innings. Last year he topped out at 136 in the 3rd. Josh Tolle is the catcher. Takes strike 1. That ball fouled right off the top of Tolle's foot. That ball was cutting inside. A very defensive swing, and he fouled it right off the top of his foot.
One more time, you said it was cutting in, and watch Tolle pull his hands in and hit that ball right off.
Hit off his
leg.
knee.
Yeah.
Right off his kneecap. This ball is inside. Look how far inside it is, and then he hits it right into the kneecap of that right knee. Of course, everybody in that Yankee dugout thinking about Mark Teixeira. He did something similar, and eventually they found out it was more than a bone bruise. He had suffered a fracture in that right leg. Tolle stays on it and gets a base hit. That'll ease the pain a bit.
It certainly will as he makes his way down the first base. You saw that ball that Josh fouled off of his knee because he's got so many different pitches. Look at all of these pitches that you're going to have to contend with if you're batting today. The fastball at 92, splitter. You've got a slider and a cutter and a curveball and a changeup, and you can't find any patterns when a guy has that many usage. I look at the 2-strike usage this year that he has had. He has used his splitter 37% of the time, the slider 30%. And the fastball about 28%. That's with 2 strikes. So when you go up there trying to find a pattern, you can't find one with this guy.
Yeah, and a lot of pitchers, they will have a particular out pitch. It's not the case. Tanaka's got 3 out pitches. Back to the top of the order for the Blue Jays. I want to know how Brian McCann calls all those pitches.
He doesn't have enough fingers to put down.
You got to have plus 3, 2, 1, plus 4, minus 3. Over to 6. Okay, that pitch, that's 8.
He might have to take his glove off and start using the other hand to put down signs, too.
Just one sign, something simple. We saw the Red Sox and the Orioles in the previous series and how they were using multiple signs with no runners at second. Just to guard against the possibility of somebody stealing signs, passing on location. Revere covers that outside fastball. But Tanaka, I'm sure Tanaka can pitch off different pitches. I think if McCann calls a fastball away, he can probably sink it or cut it. I think he probably gives him that leeway. I've done that with pitchers before, especially when they've got command like Tanaka. It's going to move, 6-8 inches. You can handle that without.
Yeah, that's not going to affect you if you're trying to catch it.
Not at all.
Cross you up at all.
Revere drives this one into center. Ellsbury's on the run. He'll get there. Ellsbury took a great route to that baseball. It was slicing away from him, but he had a good angle and runs it down.
He got a great jump also. Anticipated that ball was going to be away. Watch him get after this one. It's also hit to his glove side, so he just have to just reach up and make the grab. Ellsbury, you're going to have a fast center fielder to play in this ballpark. There's a lot of room out there.
Ellsbury signed as a free agent with the Yankees after spending the first part of his career in Boston. Josh Donaldson flied out to right his first time up. This is an interesting matchup for Donaldson. He's a guy that really likes to pick up on patterns and sit on pitches, but you've got such a wide assortment of pitches to deal with Tanaka.
And the Yankees have been throwing him a lot of off-speed pitches, a lot of breaking balls early in the count, thinking that Josh is going to try and jump on that first pitch fastball.
So fly ball to right, down near the line in the corner, and it's going to be into the seats out of play. Of course, anything in the air to right, you've really got to hold your breath. We saw both the Yankees and the Blue Jays take advantage of the short porch in right here yesterday. Alex Rodriguez dumped one in the first row in the fourth inning of game one for a 2-run home run. Jose Bautista hit one into the first row, also in the fourth inning of that game one of the doubleheader.
Jose's first home run to right field this year.
Tanaka is ahead. There's another 2-strike pitch. In Japanese professional baseball, they are really locked into repetition. Their pitchers will throw 2 and 3 times between starts, but they'll throw a lot of pitches. They want to refine their delivery. They want to refine their mechanics and make sure that they have their control. Donaldson strikes out. Another splitter right at the bottom of the zone. That's 3 strikeouts so far for Tanaka. The Yankees have a 2-0 lead.
mound yesterday, and on Sportsnet.ca, it is your home for everything Blue Jays. A fantastic article written by our own Arden Zwelling, who tracks back to every moment of Marcus Stroman's comeback from the day that he injured his knee to coming back and pitching yesterday for the Toronto Blue Jays. And guys, Marcus was over the moon yesterday talking about how it just made everything, all that hard work, so worth it to be able to go out there and pitch a very successful 5 innings.
Marcus Stroman had allowed no hits through 4 innings. He allowed just 2 walks and then a couple of infield hits and a 3-run home run. Only blemish on his otherwise outstanding outing. Marcus Stroman picked up the win in his first start of the season. Gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, a 3-run home run to Brett Gardner, and that was it.
2 hits. You mentioned it. Infield hits in that inning. One where Bennington slipped, and the other one where Donaldson couldn't come up with it, and then the 3-run home run. But other than that, I thought Marcus looked super, and nobody knew what to expect yesterday.
What a boost for the ball club to have him back into the rotation, and certainly hope that he can build upon that first start. Jacoby Ellsbury behind R.A. Dickey, 1-2.
Well, if you missed it yesterday, you missed Marcus Stroman, and I thought he got better and better. Here's a fastball that he throws right by Chase Headley. He had the good breaking ball. I thought he had command of that. I thought when he needed to make pitches, he did. This is his only mistake right here. A pitch that was up to Gardner. That was the 3-run home run.
Goins handles the ground ball off the bat of Ellsbury. 1 down here in the 3rd.
I also thought that Marcus was pumped up for the game, and I think he just ran out of steam after 5 innings.
Yeah, I think the adrenaline of the entire day. He was here for game 1. It went over 4.5 hours long. Then he had to crank it up to start game 2. And you know what? When you do something under a lot of stress, I'm not saying pressure, but stress. He was anxious to get out there and pitch. It was a long day. I bet you he ran out of gas. But he'll be back again.
The most important thing that came out of yesterday is Marcus said the knee was not an issue at all.
He dove for a ball that went up the middle, a ground ball that went past the mound. He dove for it, and you wouldn't have known that he tore his ACL back in March.
Yeah, we saw him cover first base a couple of times yesterday, so all good signs for the Blue Jays.
The only people that really noticed it, Alex Anthopoulos and George Poulos, the general manager and trainer, they leapt out of their seats when he dove for that ball. Easy, Marcus.
But that's him, though, right?
It is. He's a ball player, and he knows that there's one way to play. You put everything into it. 0-2 to Brett Gardner on the ground. Smoke at first. R.A. Dickey is there, and they beat the head-first slide of Gardner, and he said, let's check it. Well, he turned around immediately. He felt like he beat Dickey to the bag. He had a bird's eye view, if you will. He slid in head first to first.
He had a gopher's eye view because he was down low. R.A. Dickey got over there quickly, but they are not going to challenge this one. Gardner can really run, but look at R.A. take a great angle, catch the ball, step on the bag right before he got there. Justin Smoke leads him perfectly. Doesn't have to break stride and record the out over at first. There it is, right before the hand got down.
Boy, Dickey took a great angle, as you mentioned, and then stepped right on the corner of the bag. That was the difference in that play. Carlos Beltran was robbed of an extra base hit in the first. He had a line drive, looked like it was going over the center fielder's head. Boy, Dickey's starting to find that strike zone. 0-2 to Beltran.
You mentioned him hitting that strike zone. He has cut his walks in half since the All-Star break. And he showed you the great numbers that he has had since the end of July. Throw that knuckleball in the strike zone, good things are going to happen.
Well, chew, and then you create a lot of swings. When you throw so many strikes, hitters are always thinking about swinging. They will chase those pitches that break out of the zone. Early in the season, he was behind, and they were really cherry picking. They weren't swinging at anything that was close.
He's in swing mode now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's swinging at everything right now. This is where we have seen Dickey throw that very slow knuckleball, just kind of lob it up there and let it float in. He can hit him there all day long if he wants.
Strike 6. Knuckleball right there that he pulls. Yeah, this would be a good time to throw the eephus knuckleball.
Cliff Pennington moving more to the pull side. He took a couple steps to the left, and now this ball is going to bounce up the middle. Pennington quickly unloads. What a nice play by Cliff Pennington. He had just taken a few more steps to his left because Beltran had continued to pull those balls. Then he had to go back to his right, and the value of a veteran middle infielder, once again, Cliff Pennington earning his keep with the glove. I tell you what, the wheels have really fallen off the Washington Nationals, and the last bit of news they need is another injury to a key player like Bryce Harper.
What a freak injury.
Sure was. Rounding the bag at second. They lost Drew Storn, who slammed his hand into the locker, broke his thumb.
They missed Strasburg this year, Span this year, Rendon.
Bautista bounces it. Gregorius backs up, makes a nice play in the dirt, scooped by Ackley. Boy, that's a tough play for a shortstop. Anytime you back up, you just don't know what kind of hop you're going to get. But he handled it flawlessly.
You know what you want to do is you want to catch the ball on a short hop or a big hop. Didi Gregorius backed up on that one to get the big hop, and it looked like he got his spikes caught just a little bit and stumbled a little bit, and that's why the throw bounced over to first base.
The edge of the dirt going into the outfield has been a problem for both teams in this series. We've seen Cliff Pennington slip a couple of times. Right as you get onto that outfield grass, it seems to be very soft. A lot of the infielders have lost their footing there. This is Chris Colabello. Takes one inside. Colabello struck out on a slider his first time. Yankees have a 2-0 lead. We're in the fourth. We talk about the Japanese professional leagues and how they really stress fundamentals and how they prepare. And Tanaka was a product of a lot of repetition. He really takes his time in his delivery, and we can think back to Hideo Nomo, Daisuke Matsuzaka, how deliberate they were in their windups. Matsuzaka would rock once he got his glove over his head to gather his body and let everything flow together.
It's a whole timing issue, and it helped them to stay over that rubber a little bit longer before their momentum starts coming home and they start to deliver the pitch. I love his mechanics. Absolutely love him, how he stays compact in his delivery.
There's a fastball. Hiroki Kuroda also pitched here with the Yankees, and he too was a very meticulous starter. You could see Tanaka reminding himself there about following through on that pitch, get his back over. And there are a lot of checkpoints for him. Two and two to the DH, Chris Colabello. Fouls it back. Colabello came into the game in the 7th as a pinch hitter for Edwin Encarnacion in game 2 of that doubleheader yesterday. Edwin struck out in the 6th inning and took an awkward swing. Re-aggravated that knuckle on his middle finger of his left hand. 2-2 to Colabello. Now it's a full count. Justin Smoke grounded out to the second baseman, his first time up.
We don't normally see both of these guys in the lineup at the same time, do we? Colabello and Smoke.
I think we can get used to it for the next few days, especially down in Atlanta. Colabello fouls it off. You're going to either see Smoke or Colabello at first. You're not going to see Encarnacion, in my judgment. I just don't think it's prudent to challenge that knuckle, and John Gibbons has some time to work with. Give him some off time and let that knuckle get healthy again.
Normally, Ebb would play first base when the Blue Jays are playing in a National League park because of no designated hitter, but it's also that left hand. That's where that ball keeps pounding if you're playing first base when you're trying to catch the ball.
Colabello called out on strikes. He strikes out for a second time, and let's go back to the injury of Encarnacion.
It was in the game yesterday off of Capuano, a slider down and in, and you can see the reaction from Edwin as he pulled that top hand over and just crunched those middle fingers on the bat. You can tell that he was in pain. He would leave and not come back in. And with the Blue Jays winning yesterday, they have an off day tomorrow, and then the 3 in Atlanta. That's going to be some time for Edwin to heal. What he missed 3 or 4 games with that injury back at Rogers Center
earlier, and it's really interesting too that he put together that 26-game hit streak dealing with those fingers. First baseman Justin Smoke.
You know, everybody talks about the splitter from Masahiro Tanaka and how good it is and everything, but his slider might be his best pitch. Batters are only hitting 131 against it. He's gotten Chris Colabello a couple times today on that slider for strikeouts.
He manipulates the baseball very effectively. He can cut it, he can sink it, he throws the slider. He mixes a curveball in occasionally, but it's hard to get that many pitches into the mix. I mean, that's the real problem, but once again, it's the repetition with which he practices that allows him to master all of those varied pitches.
Only change I see from him this year from last year, he's not throwing as hard as he did last year when we saw him for the first time, but his stuff is the same.
Here comes another slider. And a good one. We talk about the slider being his out pitch, and it's one of 3 out pitches, but it gets him 2 strikeouts here in the 4th. 5 for the ball game for Tanaka.
For at least the next 2 to 3 weeks. He told me today it is very important for him to have his rehab while staying with the team. He says, while we have a great thing going out on the field, we also have a great thing going in the clubhouse, and I do not want to spoil that. He's a veteran. He understands that he brings a lot of intangibles to the table, and as much as he can help out on the field, he can also be great either to lend an ear to some of the young players or even being a cheerleader in the dugout. He brings so much to this team, more than what we see just on the field. Buck?
Absolutely, Barry, and it'll be a situation where he's going to play against teams he hasn't faced an awful lot. Get a chance to see Tampa Bay again and be around the team and see how other pitchers pitch to his teammates. And like you say, he can be a mentor to some of the younger players. I mean, a lot of these guys are going through this pennant race thing for the first time. And he's been through it. He's been to the World Series. He was there as a young player with Colorado.
Yeah, just showing up and showing your calm influence on a lot of the young players here going through it for the first time can mean a lot. Plus, he's not going to sit as McCann strikes out. He's not going to sit on that bench and not pay attention. This guy's a baseball player. And if he sees something that might help one of his teammates, you know he's going to go and help him.
Yeah, how about the bench? You got Russell Martin and Tulowitzki watching this ball game develop, and they pick something up they can pass it along. Well, there's a good illustration of that knuckleball and how few rotations it makes on its way to home plate. Obviously, you want that thing to not spin very much, and that was a beauty. It's the first strikeout of the afternoon for Dickey. Now that's Rodriguez singled to center and scored the second Yankee run in the second inning on a sacrifice fly to center field.
Blue Jays have a few veterans on that bench this afternoon, don't they, that they could turn to?
Pretty good bench today. Of course, a couple of them are dinged up. Troy Tulowitzki and Edwin Encarnacion. You got Russell Martin on the bench with Navarro. Goins takes his time. Rodriguez is thrown out. 2 outs. Well, R.A. Dickey ran into some problems in the second, and it was the walks once again. He walked 2 in that inning. That led to both runs. But he's firing strikes once again. Chase Headley drew one of those 2 walks against Dickey in the second. You can see Dickey starting to feel better about his knuckleball because he's picked up the tempo.
Yeah, whenever you see him make a pitch, get the ball back, and never even leave that pitching rubber, you know he's feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, he started into that delivery, and he said that was my fault. He had something other on his mind, and he wants to regroup. Chase Headley, the third baseman, is 3 for 15 against Dickey, including the first inning walk. We mentioned the Blue Jays picked up Darwin Barney for insurance in this final 3 weeks of the season. Barney came over from the Dodgers. He began his career with the Cubs, was the Gold Glove winner at second base for Chicago in 2012. The Blue Jays had their eye on several other middle infielders, and they had talked to other teams, and there were some roadblocks along the way. They talked to Seattle, but Seattle doesn't have a GM right now.
So that made it tough to strike a deal with them.
Also had interest with Chicago and never really could identify the proper fit there. But Darwin Barney, he's a nice piece to add here late in the season.
Well, he's a glove man first, and I think that's what the Blue Jays were looking for first and foremost. A right-handed glove man and a veteran who's been through the wars before. Spent most of the season down at AAA. And again, he just ran home real quick for a day. Got the news, got the call from Alex Anthopoulos to come to New York.
There's a base hit up the middle. Chase Headley comes through with 2 strikes. Only the second hit for the Yankees this afternoon. Alex Rodriguez also had a single to center in the second. Ackley had a sac fly his first time up. He drove in the first run of this ball game. He takes a strike. It's 1-1. There's a drive to right. Bautista's going to watch this one go into the seats. Dustin Ackley, his second home run against R.A. Dickey, and that's why he was in this lineup. He's driven in 3 of the Yankees' 4 runs.
The Yankees have had their eye on Dustin Ackley for a few years now, trying to acquire him, and they finally, Seattle Mariners finally let him go. Very happy to bring him up. He went down to the minor leagues just for a little bit after being acquired here. Found his stroke. He's in the lineup now, and you can see why right here. Yanks that knuckleball out over the plate. Pulls it into the seats in right field. That's his 7th home run of the season.
So the Yankees have a 4-0 lead. Didi Gregorius swings through the first pitch. Chase Headley, he had a good at bat and worked Dickey for the 2-strike base hit with 2 outs. And then Ackley stroked it out of the arm.
2 quick outs, single home run. Funny how organizations can fall in love with certain players on other teams and they go out and trade for them. Go get them.
Well, and Ackley was a first-round pick out of North Carolina. Yankees may have been interested in him as a free agent. Gregorius bounces out to the first baseman. That ends the 4th inning. We'll go to the 5th. The Yankees have a 4-0 lead. For Masahiro Tanaka, now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Keep up to speed with everything Blue Jays. Don't miss a pitch with our in-depth live game tracker. Plus the latest news, videos, and interviews on Canada's team. Download the new Sportsnet app today, and you can read all about and hear all about what Troy Tulowitzki and Alex Anthopoulos had to say on that Sportsnet app today, Buck.
Well, they both talked about the unfortunate incident that forced Tulowitzki out of the lineup. He suffered a crack in that shoulder blade. And it's not necessarily the crack in the shoulder blade they're concerned about as much as the muscles around that shoulder blade that really took a beating when the two players collided. This is Kevin Pillar. He had a double his first time up. Pillar doubled over the wall in center field, had a ground rule double that bounced into the Blue Jays bullpen. That snapped an 0 for 10 in this series. Pillar's been a little anxious at the plate. He's getting his body involved. When he was red hot back in June, he was real quiet. Not a whole lot of movement, and trusted his hands to get him to that baseball.
Yeah, he was staying back on the ball just a little bit more and using his hands. And his swing would bring him forward. His weight shift would go in the swing. At times we have seen him go outside of the strike zone, and then that front side is out on his front foot a little bit too much. The swing that he had for a double was a beautiful swing his first time up.
2-1. And breaking ball backed up on Tanaka. He wanted it down and away and missed. Kevin Pillar is now 26 years old. He has a grand total of 736 at bats coming into this game. So he's just learning.
You hear the old-time baseball people say it takes, what, 1,500 at-bats in the major leagues, 3 full seasons before you really understand and really know what type of player you're going to get?
Yeah, I think that's a good barometer. You get 3 full seasons out of a player, then you know what you've got. Pillar hits it on the ground. Gregorius at short. Boy, he's got a good arm. 1 down. Let's take a look at the standings and the Blue Jays and Yankees. This was a much anticipated series. When the Blue Jays hit town here on Thursday, they were rained out. They had a 1.5 lead over the Yankees. They've since stretched it out to 4.5.
Yesterday's games, I'm telling you, if you had a chance to watch them and be there and watch it all day long, I mean, they were like two heavyweights going at each other. Both of these managers, John Gibbons and Joe Girardi, they wanted that first game, and they were going to do whatever it took to win it. And then the second game was a slugfest also, 10-7 Blue Jays. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been back and forth, and certainly the Yankees are desperate to win this game today. They don't want the Blue Jays to leave town with a 5.5 game lead over you with so few games left. The Yankees will leave after this game and go to Tampa Bay to take on the Rays for a 3-game series. Then they come back to New York to play the Mets. Joe Girardi knows that's going to be a challenge. Steven Matz, the young left-hander, Noah Syndergaard, and Matt Harvey are the scheduled pitchers to face the Yankees over at Citi Field. So it'll be a home game that isn't at home. They'll play at Citi Field, and then they come to Toronto. And another challenge for the Yankees is the fact that Sunday night game, not only do you have to deal with Matt Harvey, but it's a night game before you fly to Toronto.
We have seen teams in the past that play a lot of times on Sunday night baseball. They get worn out in September, don't they? The time, the travel, you get into the next city late. Here's another thing that's not working in the Yankees' advantage. They only have one more off day all season long.
Yeah, that'll take place on the 17th in between the Rays and Mets series, and that's it. And that's the challenge. The Yankees have an older ball club. Ask their older players to play every day down the stretch. It's tough. The Blue Jays have a younger team, and now they're going to have some extra players play as regular players the final 3 weeks of the season. And you're talking about Goins, you're talking about Pennington. Ben Revere's a young player. Pillar is playing in his first full season, so you don't worry about them. I believe that you got to keep your eye on Donaldson and Bautista. They give you everything they have every single at bat, every single inning in the field. And Got to make sure they don't run out of gas. Another good take by Goins. It's 2-2.
Every inning of every day. I mean, it really wears on you mentally. That's why we saw Bautista leave in yesterday's game. He was on 7 times in the game yesterday, the doubleheader. So John Gibbons in the 9th inning said, you know what? I'm going to put Pilar in the game anyway. Might as well leave Carrera and slide him over to right field, give Jose a half an inning off.
Goins has worked it to a full count. Josh Donaldson, he's intense. I mean, he puts everything he has into batting practice to playing in the field to all of his at-bats. So you got to keep an eye on him. But he's going to have an off day tomorrow. And if you ask him, he'd never want to come out of a game.
Why would you? The way he has been playing this season.
Owens hits it high and deep, but that's going to be foul. And it's going to go into that second deck. Well, foul down the right side. Ryan Goins has certainly elevated his stock over the course of the summer. He began as a backup infielder and an emergency outfielder. And now he's going to play a key role over these final 3 weeks, and he has been a key player since the Devin Travis injury.
What's the toughest thing to do in baseball? Take that stigma that you're just a glove first type of player or you're a utility type of player and knock it off your back. I think Ryan's done that.
Yes, I think he has. I think he's really captured the attention of a lot of scouts that have followed the Blue Jays. Hitting well over his last 22 games. Goins called out. Another close pitch. Blue Jays have struck out 6 times now. Well, something that has really become interesting of late is the Royals and Blue Jays and their quest to have the best record in the American League, and the Blue Jays are only 2 wins behind the Royals.
2.5 games back behind that. The Royals, it looked like it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to end up with the best record in the American League. They got off to a great start. They're still playing great baseball, but the Blue Jays, their hot streak that they have had now for about 6 weeks or so, has put them into the picture for the best record in the American League. What does that mean? It means you've got home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Big advantage.
Cliff Pennington goes after the first pitch. Tanaka is through 5 innings. He's shutting out the Blue Jays on just 3. It's New York has a 4-0 lead.
September 18th for Connect with the Jays night presented by Honda. The Blue Jays take on the Red Sox at 7:07, and the first 20,000 fans will receive one of these Blue Jays Come Together t-shirts. Buck, it's a slogan that started out in spring training, and boy, how fitting is it? Come together, and that's exactly what the Blue Jays have done this year.
Well, they sure have, and that's the big thing about this team, and it's really become a team in the second half, and they've all gotten together and have come together as a unit, that's for sure. This is Stephen Drew. He flied out to right field in the second inning. This ball is trouble down the right side, and if it's fair, it's gone, but it is a foul ball. Just 3:14 down there in the corner, and this is a very friendly ballpark. Hitter friendly for sure. Just 17 home runs for Drew, hitting in the 9th spot. Doesn't take much of a shot to hit it out here in right.
Especially friendly for left-handed hitters. Get on top of the plate, try to elevate the ball to right field. I think from the Yankee bullpen in right center field to the foul line in right field, it's very inviting. It's a lot like Boston without the high wall.
Boston in left, of course. This is popped up. Josh Tolle over near the Blue Jays dugout gets there and uses that knuckleball glove to catch the pop up. One down.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Yankee Stadium 3, if you will. The original was across the street. They renovated that in 74 and 75 and reopened it in 1976. And then this ballpark has replaced the original. They did a great job on building the ballpark, but I wish the playing surface was bigger. I wish it was more honest, more fair.
In right field.
Yeah. It's a smaller ballpark all over. I played in the original my first year, 1969. The monuments and the flagpoles were on the field in center field at Yankee Stadium.
What was that? Something like 430 feet?
Yeah, it was,
like that,
it was a mile out there. I can remember as a kid watching Mickey Mantle chase fly balls that rolled around between the monuments.
Yeah, right behind him. He had to go in there and dig them out. How about the right field? Is it about the same? Does it play the same?
No, not at all. It was very short down the line. I want to say it was just over 300 feet in the corner. And the fence was very low. It was like 3.5 feet. It was a low fence that ran away from the foul pole. This fence runs parallel to the baselines, basically. It just goes straight out from the corner, where the old ballpark used to bow out deep into right center. I believe it was 407 in the right center alley in the old ballpark. And there was a scoreboard out there along the same lines as that scoreboard is right now. But I want to say it was 407 to that area of the ballpark. And it was a deep ballpark, and you had to hit it. You had to be a man to hit it out of here. Ellsbury strikes out. That's just the second strikeout of the afternoon for R.A. Dickey. 2 quick outs here in the 5th.
It's a good knuckleball that ties up Ellsbury. It's where you want to throw it right here. Look at the slow-mo on this thing. I mean, watching it like that looks like it's going to be hard to catch. You think it's going to dip down and it stays up? Second strikeout in the afternoon for R.A.
There has never been a definitive approach to hitting the knuckleball. I mean, you've heard so many theories over the years. Guys would say, I'm going to bring a heavy bat to the plate. I'm going to choke up. I'm going to use a light bat and wait till the last possible minute. I don't think anybody's ever figured it out.
I think you have to wait. We have seen teams that are successful against R.A. Dickey are the teams that are patient. They try to take the ball back through the middle, try to serve the ball the other way. He has had success against free swinging teams and teams with long swings. And you can change. And the one theory is just put your bat on your shoulder, and until you see the ball out of the hand, then you start to make your move and try and hit the ball.
Dickey is 7-3 for his career against the Yankees. This is Brett Gardner. That's a fair ball. No problem for Smoke. The inning is over. Now the Blue Jays hitters, they got to figure it out. Masahiro Tanaka. They've managed just 3 hits off the righty.
Out of market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real live time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Every night on every device. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Buck?
Thank you very much, Barry. BlueJays.com will keep you up to speed on everything Blue Jays. We have reached the 6th inning, and the Blue Jays haven't been able to reach Masahiro Tanaka. He's allowed just 3 hits, no runs to this point. Josh Thole has one of those 3 hits. He had a single to center field.
6 career starts versus the Blue Jays for Tanaka. 6 hits or fewer in all of them. We just have not been able to figure out Tanaka yet.
Thole hits a fly ball to right. Beltran almost in his tracks is there, and Thole's retired. 9 straight set down by Tanaka. Both of these ball clubs used a ton of pitchers in the doubleheader yesterday. So these 2 managers are very grateful for the efforts they've gotten from their starters. Strike 1 to Ben Revere. We haven't seen Ben Revere swing and miss too many pitches since he's joined the Blue Jays.
I think that shows you the kind of stuff that Tanaka's brought to the mound today. I think he senses how important this game is for the Yankees and how important it is that he goes deep into the game. Talk about relievers used. Yankees used 5 on Friday in the doubleheader alone. They used 6 in the first game and 4 more in the second game. 10 pitchers yesterday. 16 relievers. So Girardi needs a long outing from his starter today.
There, stays alive. That ball down and in. He found it off his foot. Tanaka stays inside very well, and he will create a lot of swings on those borderline pitches, and then he'll paint one away. He's a tough customer.
Yeah, very rarely does he get that ball up. I guess if there's one knock against him this year is he's given up a lot of home runs. Something he didn't do a lot of last year. I thought he was throwing harder before the elbow injury. He's given up 22 home runs this season. But I'm nitpicking.
Breaking ball hit to Ackley. 2 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. We are in New York. 4th and final game of this 4-game series. The Blue Jays trail 4-0 with 2 outs in the 6th. Josh Donaldson is 0 for 2 this afternoon. He's 1 for 12 in his career against Tanaka. Give you an idea just how tough Tanaka has been this afternoon. The Blue Jays came into this game after scoring 30 runs in the first 3 games, and as a team hitting .323 against the Yankees. Totally different story today.
Good pitching stops good hitting. Blue Jays 24 times they've scored 10 runs this season in a game. But Tanaka is just making his pitches. Just can't get the ball. Blue Jays can't get him to get the ball up so they can take a good swing.
When he misses off the plate. Less accomplished pitchers will miss, and it'll leak over the middle of the plate. That's when the Blue Jays really do their damage. Good numbers for his career. This is his 7th career start against the Blue Jays. Again, right on the corner. It looks like it's going to be center cut, and the movement takes it to that inside edge.
X's on both sides of the plate, right? That's where you get a lot of success.
Ground ball. Headley spins around, throws in time. Another 3 up, 3 down inning for Tanaka.
22-day countdown to the last home game. You can share your passion with hashtag 22daysBlueJays and let the celebration begin on the weekend. We sent 2 caravans, one heading towards the West Coast, one to the East Coast, and they are filming things and getting pictures and just showing the passion Blue Jays fans have across this country. Buck?
Should be great when you check it out the final day of the season, and lots of things going on surrounding this great run by the Blue Jays. R.A. Dickey misses with the first pitch to the number 3 hitter, Carlos Beltran. Beltran rips it into the seats. Beltran's been retired on 2 good defensive plays here this afternoon. Center fielder Kevin Pillar robbed him of an extra base hit his first time up. And then the second baseman, Cliff Pennington, took a hit away from him in the third. It's a high fly ball into center. Pillar's got plenty of room. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Don't take your eyes off the Minnesota Twins. They are just a game out of the second wild card spot. And the Angels are 2 games back. The Yankees have a first wild card spot. They have a 3-game lead over the Rangers. And then it's Texas, Minnesota, the Angels, and you could throw Cleveland in there.
Sure.
Only 4 out.
Sure, Tampa Bay's just 5 out with their pitching staff. That is doable. Cleveland's 4 out, LA 2. I think the American League West is going to go down to the last week for sure.
There's the wild card race. We talk about the Yankees being up by 3, but they've got a tough assignment. They go on the road after this game, play Tampa Bay, the Mets, and the Blue Jays. Dustin Smoke into foul ground. McCann's retired. 2 outs. But yeah, I agree with you on the Houston, Texas race, and even the Angels. The Angels are only 3 games back, 3.5 games back in the AL West.
It's the only division in the American League where 3 teams have at least 70 wins. 3 teams. Houston, they're 10 games over 500, but only a game and a half up on the Texas Rangers.
Another race that everybody kind of assumed was over was the NL Central race. Well, this just in. It might not be over. The Cardinals have a 2.5 game lead over the Pirates, 5.5 over the Cubs, and the Cubs have won 82 games, and they're in 3rd place. That's a heck of a division.
And that's the only division in baseball that has 3 teams with 80 wins. Pittsburgh has picked up 4 games on the Cardinals. Cardinals have 88 wins, yet they're only 2.5 games ahead of the Pirates. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Ball and a strike to Rodriguez. And the Blue Jays have their eye on catching Kansas City for the best record in the American League, and they're 2.5 games behind them. Kansas City will go into Cleveland to begin a 4-game series tomorrow night. Bautista coming in from right, and he will call off the second baseman, makes the running catch. Good inning for R.A. Dickey. We'll head to the 7th. when you look back at his career, Bautista is among the best at hitting home runs against the Yankees, and no one has hit more home runs against New York than Jose Bautista since 2011.
Big stage, big player. He just brings it. 22 home runs for Bautista over Longoria, Davis, and David Ortiz. And that's since 2011. In his career, he's done something pretty special, too, against New York.
He hit home runs number 30 and 31 against the Yankees in Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. And he becomes the 41st player to hit 30 or more home runs against New York. But he got to 30 home runs faster than anybody in the history against the Yankees. He did it in 310 at-bats. The previous leader in that department was Albert Bell, who reached 30 home runs in 333 at-bats. So Bautista stands alone as the quickest to 30 home runs against the Yankees in his career. Ball on the strike. The Blue Jays need some base runners. Tanaka has not walked a batter. He has struck out 6. He's retired 11 straight. Bautista had a ground rule double in the first. Pilar had a ground rule double in the second. And Josh Tolle had a single in the third. That's the last base runner to reach against Tanaka.
That is it. That's the last time that he was in the stretch position. He's got everything working for him. Slider's been good today. We might see it here.
And that's the problem you have. That might have been the splitter, but he will throw your sliders, he'll throw your fastballs, he'll throw your splitters on 2 strikes.
Unpredictable. Just can't sit on any one pitch. You can't sit on any one area. And I would not want to guess along with him, Brian McCann.
Bautista got a piece of it and he stays alive. The Yankees have lost 5 in a row for the second time this season. They have a season high 6-game losing streak that goes back to the 3rd week of May.
Blue Jays have also won 7 straight games here at Yankee Stadium.
The longest winning streak since 1976 when the Orioles won 7 games here in the season. And Bautista strikes out. A little bit slower breaking ball there.
The all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful afternoon here in New York. 24 degrees at the start of this ball game. After the rain out on Thursday, the forecast called for lots of interruptions and rain over the course of the weekend. We were fairly fortunate and only got that delay in Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday.
Cooled things off a little bit here. It's starting to feel like fall weather. And that means playoff baseball.
3 weeks left in the season. 3 weeks from today, the Blue Jays will end their season down at St. Petersburg against the Tampa Bay Rays. As hot as the Blue Jays have been recently, especially in this series, Tanaka has taken the sting out of their bats today. Back and forth, in and out.
Just not making any mistakes. Told you Blue Jays have won 7 straight here. Their old record was set back at 85-86 when they won 6 in a row at Yankee Stadium. Tanaka seems determined to stop it right there.
But more than anything, he's trying to stop the 5-game losing streak. The Yankees have lost 5 straight here at Yankee Stadium. Of course, Joe Girardi got the tough news that they've lost Mark Teixeira and Nathan Eovaldi for the season. Eovaldi was a 14-game winner as a starter. So when you think about the Blue Jays losing Tulowitzki and Encarnacion, everybody in baseball this time of the year losing key players.
We just saw Bryce Harper have to leave the game in Washington. He might be the National League MVP.
That was an unusual injury. He rounded second on a ground ball to first and ran into the second baseman. Well, Labello gets a piece of it. He stays alive. The Blue Jays will have an off day on Monday before they resume play on Tuesday night against the Atlanta Braves, and the Braves have had a miserable season. They've lost their last 3. They have won just 2 of their last 10, and they have 56 wins for the season. Well, Labello drives it deep to left. Gardner took a flat route, and he's not going to get it. I don't know if he ever saw it. He ran to where he thought it was going to be and then stuck his glove out, but he wasn't close.
He's a good outfielder. When you see mistakes like that, you know that that ball got up into the sun. His angle towards the ball suggested that he had no idea where the ball was, and then at the last minute he threw his glove up trying to hope that that ball goes in there, trying to shield himself of the sun. If you can see the angle, watching the line drive in the left field, he cuts across, throws the glove up, and that ball's over his head. He has no idea where that ball is.
He had no idea where that ball is. Watch him stick his glove up, and then he sees it bounce behind him. So he lost it off the bat and just ran to where he thought it was going to be. That's the 3rd double for the Blue Jays. Just their 4th hit, and the Yankees bullpen will start to go to work.
You know, as good as Tanaka has been today, the Blue Jays have done a good job of making him work. 101 pitches now. That is a helpless feeling. I have done that before. You throw the glove up, you've got the sunglasses on, you've got all of that going for you, but you have no idea where the ball is. You see, he's still waiting for the ball to come down. It's already past him.
Yeah, and you could see he never saw it. I mean, he had his glove up in the air and the ball was already on the ground. He still was looking for it.
This time of the year, right? The sun is a little bit lower, so it's right into the outfielder's eyes.
You can wear any kind of sunglasses and still, if that ball gets up in the sun, you're just not going to see it. That's Justin Wilson, hard-throwing left-hander, loosening up. Yankees have 5 left-handers in their bullpen. And we saw all 5 of them in this series.
We saw Capuano, who was great, Millen, Pazos, Shreve, and Wilson. We've also seen Bailey and Gotham and Goody and Mitchell and Pinder and Rebelo and Martin. The only one we haven't seen is Warren.
Chases that pitch off the plate. Tanaka just will not throw a pitch over the middle of the plate. Blue Jays have 3 doubles this afternoon. They've been unable to advance the runners from second after those doubles. There's a drive to left field. That's going to be caught by Gardner. Now he's got a shot at Colabello, but Colabello gets back in time. Gardner saw that one because it was a low liner.
It was lower. I don't think it got above the stands here at Yankee Stadium, so he was able to track that one, made a good play. If he makes a good throw, he's going to have another outfield assist. Low liner, Colabello thinks it's in, but there's Gardner. But the throw is offline. I think he stumbled right when he started to throw that ball. The turf has been very wet here because of the rain. Yeah, he just didn't have solid footing, so the throw's offline, but a heck of a play by Gardner.
Yeah, that was a hot shot line drive, but it was low, and he had his eye on it the whole way. Now Kevin Pillar's gone 1 for 2. He was picked off of second base in the second inning after he hit a ground rule double. Tanaka's season high in pitches was 114. That was back on the 9th of July against the A's right here at Yankee Stadium. He went 7 2/3 innings in that game, allowed 2 runs on 2 hits. Even when the pitches are up in the zone, they're on the corners of the plate.
Haven't seen too many in the middle halfway. This might be his last inning.
If Pilar gets on, it might be his last hitter. Pilar drives it to right. Beltran's got room right at the edge of the warning track. Tanaka, 7 strong innings. He's allowed the Blue Jays just 4 hits and no runs.
Alomar, George Bell, Dwayne Ward, and many more to have a little lunch and talk baseball. In support, too, of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Well, you'll have that chance on Friday, September 18th at the Albany Golf Club in Toronto. Don't miss this great opportunity to chat about the state of the game with so many of baseball's legends. For tickets, go to baseballhalloffame.ca. But for any baseball fan, that has got to be a cool way to spend an afternoon.
Right, sure is, and that's the opener of the final homestand of the season. So it'll be a great Friday afternoon. Great way to get yourself ready for the ball game that night. Boy, Ari Dickey's been pretty good, but Masahiro Tanaka, his mound opponent, has been a little bit better.
A little bit better. A couple of sacrifice flies and a 2-run home run. The only mistakes against RA this afternoon. Unfortunately, he's back running up against the other team's #1, and he is shutting out the Blue Jays.
Blue Jays certainly aren't going to be satisfied taking 3 of 4. They'd like to sweep the Yankees right here. And believe me, they are not ready to concede this ball game by any means. The Yankees have Dylan Betances already throwing down in their bullpen. Tanaka's over 100 pitches. Headley, Ackley, and Gregorius for New York. Bottom of the 7th. Ground ball, Pennington to his left. One down. Drive of the game presented by the all-new 2016 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
You know, you sit around and you think about making out that lineup card and you say, how am I going to play at first base? Do I want the veteran or do I want the rookie? Well, Joe Girardi penciled in Dustin Ackley at first base this afternoon, and it paid off for him. Ackley's going to hit a 2-run home run off of R.A. Dickey. That was in the 4th inning. And that's our drive of the game today.
He also had a sacrifice fly in the 2nd. He drove in the first Yankee run of this ball game. Good move by the manager. I think we both anticipated Greg Bird would be there, the rookie. He's played in this series 2 of the first 3 games, but Girardi felt like it wasn't fair to send Bird out there against Dickey because R.A.'s been throwing very well lately. First time he would be facing a knuckleballer.
And they don't want the young kid to get that swing messed up looking at that knuckleball. So he did not play in game 2 in yesterday's doubleheader. I mean, Joe Girardi didn't want him to play today against the knuckleballer. Worked out for him.
Sure did. He called the right number in Ackley. Line drive into center. Pilar is going to play it on the hop. Ackley's had a 2-hit game. He's 2 for 2 with a sacrifice fly.
Ball was up, and for a second there, we've seen him do it all season long. We thought Kevin Pilar was going to come in, but he did the right thing, backed off, played it on a hop. What an afternoon for Ackley.
Ackley and Smoke were teammates in Seattle. Big swing from Gregorius. Gregorius had the second sacrifice fly in the 2nd inning. That gave the Yankees a 2-0 lead. This is going to be down into the corner. Bautista is going to play it off the wall. Ackley is headed for 3rd. He's going to be stopped there as Bautista gets it back to Pennington quickly, and Gregorius has his 20th double of the season.
Gregorius with a sacrifice fly his first time up, got a ground out. Took the wild swing in that first pitch in that at bat, and then that one's a little bit more controlled as he gets it over Smoke's head and into the corner for extra bases. Now the infield has to come in.
Stephen Drew, the number 9 hitter, batting with runners at 2nd and 3rd. Really interesting defensive alignment. They're playing the infielders on the edge of the grass, but look at, they've got 3 defenders on the right side. And Goins is almost directly behind R.A. Dickey, who's a great fielder himself.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why he's behind him, because Dickey is so good on those comebackers. There's a gigantic hole on the left side of the infield.
Yeah, if you're Stephen Drew hitting the knuckleball, you just got to take a shot at that hole at shortstop. It's so difficult to position your defense behind R.A. Dickey because the knuckleball is so unpredictable. Ryan Tepera picked up his first big league save in game 2. Excuse me, in game 1. Lowe had the save in game 2. This is popped up. Goins, and now Pennington makes the catch, and what a play he made. Oh my, they got a shot at 3rd. Pennington went down the right field line and made a terrific catch. and then quickly turned and fired toward home to keep Ackley from taking off for home. What an effort.
Remember, the infield is in, so he's got a long way to go. He finds it and then fires back in, and heads up play by Ryan Goins, who becomes the cutoff man when the first baseman and the second baseman go down to get that pop up down the right field line. The shortstop's got to come in, act as the cutoff man. He does, and they had a shot at third base, but he's just back.
Well, I tell you what, that play right there reflects a lot of fundamental preparation. Pennington just starting, and he's a former shortstop that was a regular. He goes down there, reactions tell him unload in a hurry. Then Goins sets up as a cutoff man to home plate, and he looked at third. First thing he thought about. Top of the order, Jacoby Ellsbury. Oh, 0-1 to Ellsbury. 2 outs. Ellsbury's 0 for 3 so far. Well, the defense has helped out R.A. Dickey this afternoon. Pilar in center. Twice for Pennington at second.
He won the game for the Blue Jays in yesterday's first game doubleheader. Tepera Chad Jenkins just called up, now warming up.
Two and 2 count to Ellsbury. R.A. Dickey is on the hook. He trails 4-0. He has not lost a game since the 9th of July. He lost 2-0 at Chicago. And that was a strong 7-inning outing. Oh, that's a close pitch. Full count. Brett Gardner is on deck. Popped up, playable. Donaldson at third. Makes the catch. Dickey gets out of it. He gets a nice defensive play from his second baseman, Cliff Pennington. We'll go to the 8th.
You can go there to vote for today's play of the game. To do that, simply go to sportsnet.ca, and after the game, cast your vote. We've had a few great ones today, including a spectacular catch from Kevin Pilar out in center field, Buck.
Another good day for the defense. Pilar, Pennington both making good defensive plays, and I tell you what, the Blue Jays are thrilled that Masahiro Tanaka's out of the game. I don't care if it is Dylan Betances. They want to look at somebody else now.
Well, it doesn't get any easier with Dylan Betances into the ballgame. 65th time for the big right-hander, 6-3 with a 148 earned run average. He's thrown 73 innings this year, and he has racked up a ton of strikeouts, 114 of them. That leads all major league relievers with those 114 strikeouts. He's got a great fastball and a very hard, sharp breaking ball.
Betances pitched in game one of the doubleheader yesterday. Pitched an inning and a third and gave up a home run to Jose Bautista. That put the Blue Jays on top 5-4. That was in the 8th inning. Betances allowed 2 hits, struck out 2 in an inning and a third. Brian Goins goes after the first pitch. Goins has struck out twice so far this afternoon. Once swinging, once looking. Betances used sliders mostly in that game against the Blue Jays in game one yesterday, except for a fastball he tried to sneak by Bautista. That didn't work.
Wow. That might have been the hardest ball we've seen hit by Jose this year to dead center field.
There's that slider, gets away from McCann, and he'll throw to first to complete the strikeout. Strikeout 2-3, one down in the 8th.
Well, he can be an intimidating type of guy out on that mound. Here are the best at striking out opponents as relievers. This is in the major leagues. It's Dylan Betances with his fastball slider. Aroldis Chapman second. He throws 100. Cody Allen with a great curveball third, and then Andrew Miller. What a combination they have. One righty, one lefty, the Yankees in that bullpen.
Betances in the 8th, Miller in the 9th. Aroldis Chapman struck out the side last night to pick up his 30th save. He's the first pitcher to save 30 games and strike out 100 or more batters in 4 consecutive seasons. Bennington down 0-2. Now it's 2-2. Blue Jays are 8-1 here at Yankee Stadium for the season. And Pennington strikes out. 98.
Save during the plumbing, heating, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Josh Tolley's 1 for 2. Had a single off Tanaka in the 3rd inning.
Oh, the life of a backup catcher, huh?
Get to play today.
Yeah. You also get to face Tanaka and Betances.
Yeah. And for Tolley, he hadn't had many at-bats this season. He came into this game with just 38 at-bats. He now has 40 at-bats all season long. Spent the majority of the year down in AAA. Josh is catching for just the 13th time. It's the 12th start he's caught R.A. Dickey. Tolley is called for a swing, and the ball gets away from McCann. Betances comes out for the 8th and strikes out the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees have a 4-0 lead. Now time for Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
'16 Honda Pilot, proud partner and official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
R.A. Dickey back for the 8th. Yankees have a 4-0 lead. Gardner, Beltran, and McCann for New York. Gardner bounces it fair. What a play by Smoke. Boy, he makes it look so easy down there at first as he uses that glove and takes a hit away from Gardner.
That was not an easy play by Smoke, but you're right. He made it look so easy. Justin's a big guy. He's 6'4". He's up over 215 pounds. And he moves well. He's got very soft hands. Watch this. Go pick it. In between hop, snags it easily.
Carlos Beltran is 0 for 3 so far. The Yankees have 5 hits. The Blue Jays have 4. Dustin Ackley has done most of the damage today. He's driven in 3 of the 4 Yankee runs. A sacrifice fly and a 2-run homer. Up the middle, that'll sneak through. Beltran gets a base hit with 1 out here in the 8th. He was robbed of a couple of hits earlier in the game by Pilar and later on by Pennington. This time he sneaks one through the middle.
Swinging a hot bat. Came up with some big hits against the Blue Jays when they were back at Rogers Center. And now he's going to pick up his first hit this afternoon.
He had a pinch hit 3-run home run off Aaron Sanchez at Rogers Center that made the Yankees a winner. This is only pinch hit home run of the season. Rico Noel is the pinch runner at first for the veteran Beltran. Noel was a terrific base stealer in the minor leagues. He had a season of 90 stolen bases. Dickey does a good job of keeping an eye on potential base stealers.
And he definitely is one right there. He was let go by San Diego. And Yankees picked him up, and they envision him as a player that can steal a base for him late in a ball game.
McCann hits it high in the air into center. Noel's going back to tag, and Pillar's throw will keep him at first. Kevin Pillar unloads in a hurry. Noel was going to second base, but Pillar threw a strikeout run hop to second.
You know what's impressive about that is the accuracy with which Kevin Pillar can throw the ball to a base. You don't see that ball way offline that many times. It's right there, and that throw stopped Noel from tagging and going to second base. He was about halfway there when that ball was almost back into the infield.
Yeah, he watched the flight of the throw, and it was right on line, so he shut her down. Alex Rodriguez 1 for 3 with a run scored. On that fly ball that McCann hit to right, Noel was going back to first. He hadn't figured out Dickey just yet, but it looks like he wants to run here.
Yep, get himself into scoring position one more time for Rodriguez. Got a big lead.
This is going to be trouble down the left side. Noel can really run. Revere bobbles it. They're waving him around home, and they missed the first cutoff man. Here's the throw from Pennington, not in time. Ben Revere missed the first cutoff man Goins. The trailer, Pennington picked it up, but the throw to home was late.
And that's what they envisioned with that young kid Rico Noel, is to either steal a base or you can score easily on an extra base hit. Rodriguez is going to pick up another RBI here. Off the wall, there's the bobble that you were talking about. Then he misses the cutoff man to Pennington, and they still had a shot. But he will circle the bases, and John Gibbons is out.
So R.A. Dickey is out of the ball game with 2 outs here in the 8th. Yankees have scored another run. Ryan Tepera coming on to face Chase Headley. RBI here in the 8th for the season. It's RBI number 81, and that gives him 2,050 all-time.
3rd all-time behind some guys named Aaron and Ruth. There's A-Rod right there. I mean, he is filling up the record books. He's closing in on 2,000 runs scored. That's 1,997 for his career. We mentioned today was the day that they honored Alex for his 3,000th career hit. Doing a little bit of everything. He is lifted for a pinch runner. That's why he is out of the ball game, and he's on the bench enjoying a cold drink.
Jose Perella has taken over as a pinch runner, running for Rodriguez at second base. Brian Tepera Picked up his first career save in game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. He came on and got the final 3 outs in the 11th inning.
You know, that save that you were just talking about, Buck, and the save by Mark Lowe in game number 2 give the Blue Jays now 8 players who have recorded a save for him this year.
Started out with Miguel Castro as their closer, and then Brett Cecil went in to close.
Brett's got 5. Castro has 4. The leader is Osuna with 16. But we've seen Hawkins with a save this year. Bo Schultz has had a save. Tepera, Lowe that we talked about. Steve Delabar has a save this season for the Blue Jays.
Took him a long time to identify Osuna as the closer. Ball and a strike to Headley. Foul. Tepera trying to save this run for R.A. Dickey. Dickey has given up 5 runs. The runner at second is his responsibility. Dickey had a little control problem in the second inning. He walked 2, and that led to the 2 sacrifice flies. First 2 runs of the game, and the Blue Jays haven't made a dent in the scoreboard yet. Three-2. Tepera strikes out Headley. Pirela is stranded at second. We'll go to the 9th. Blue Jays are down by 5. It'll be the top of the order. Ben Revere, Josh Donaldson, Jose Bautista. The Blue Jays trying to avoid the shutout. A tough mound opponent in Masahiro Tanaka. You look at the line, it's not too bad for Dickey. 7 2/3. He allowed 7 hits, 5 earned runs. The 2 walks really proved costly in the second inning. The Yankees scored their first 2 runs in the second. He had couple of strikeouts through 115 pitches in his outing this afternoon.
I know that I actually pitched better than the line score showed right there. He did give up those 2 walks, and one of them scored. So he'll be in line for that winning streak to end. If Blue Jays can't make a comeback, they're going to have to do it against a new pitcher. That's James Pazos, the left-hander in the ball game. Side armor, throws pretty hard, pretty good breaking ball. We saw him in yesterday's game. Another change for the Yankees.
Chris Young takes over defensively in right field. Carlos Beltran was lifted for the pinch runner. Matt Haig, a right-handed hitter, batting for Ben Revere in the leadoff spot. Haig was the International League Player of the Year playing for AAA Buffalo. He has a hit since he has joined the Blue Jays. He had a hit in Boston. Two and 0. Haig has had a couple of different stints with the Pirates. There's a strike. Haig is 30 years old. He turned 30 on the 20th of August. He spent some time in 2012 with Pittsburgh and then again in 2014. Those are his career numbers in 35 games in the big leagues. 2-1. Hits it hard and deep to left field. Gardner back, and he makes a terrific catch. Brett Gardner, a very good outfielder. The clouds have closed in on Yankee Stadium. Earlier in the game, he had trouble because he lost the ball in the sun. Not the case this time.
That's why we were surprised when he missed that ball, but it was because of the sun. This time, no problem with that. There is no sun up there. Lots of clouds blocking out the sunshine. So Brett Gardner's got the sunglasses up on the hat, and you can see he reaches up and takes away extra bases for Matt Haig, to the delight of James Pazos, and that's going to be it for the left-hander.
So the left-hander gets Matt Haig out. Josh Donaldson will be the batter, and we'll have a pitching change when we come back to New York. 1 out in the 9th. New pitcher into the ballgame with 1 out in the 9th is Caleb Cotham. We saw Caleb pitch on Friday night. He worked an inning and a third through 20 pitches and allowed a hit. This is just his 5th game of the season.
It's also his 4th stint with the ball club, up and down like the Yankees do with their relievers. Cotham into the game for just the 5th time. He hasn't walked a batter in his 5 innings.
Blue Jay fans anxious for Donaldson to continue to finish up a very strong season. Josh is 0 for 3 this afternoon. Blue Jays have just 4 hits. The Jays are being shut out. They've only been shut out 4 times all season. That's the fewest shutouts in the American League for an offense. They've been shut out 4 times. The Yankees, they've been shut out 5 times. That's the second fewest. Two and 0. Bouncing ball, big hop for Headley at third. Blue Jays are down to their final out. Jose Bautista had a ground rule double his first time up, has gone 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Ground ball, Headley wide of third, takes his time, lets the ball go. The Blue Jays are shut out 5-0, just the 5th time they've been shut out all season. But the good news is they'll leave New York 3.5 games ahead of the New York Yankees in the East.
A couple of emotional games in yesterday's ball game. Blue Jays came out a little flat today, but they were in tough against a tough pitcher in Tanaka. He throws 7 innings. They turn it over to the bullpen. Dustin Ackley has a big day. And the Yankees get a game back. The Blue Jays, let's look at it from the Blue Jays. They take 3 out of 4. I think everybody would have been happy if this series started and you said the Blue Jays are going to take 3 out of 4. That's just what they did.
Absolutely. They had a good series. They scored a lot of runs, hit a lot of home runs, and they leave New York 3.5 games up on the Yankees with 19 games to go. We'll have an off day tomorrow. We'll see you Tuesday night from Atlanta. Thanks for watching. Here's Blue Jays Central. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.